Welcome to this episode of Vietnam Diaries. In this episode, we would take you to a tour of beautiful ancient town of Vietnam. It's called Hoi An. Hoi An is a city on Vietnam's central coast known for its well-preserved ancient town, cut through with canals. Hoi An is a former port city and its beauty and history is reflected in its architecture. Chinese shophouses and temples, colorful French colonial buildings, ornate Vietnamese tube houses and the iconic Japanese covered bridge with its pagoda. Hoi An, located in Vietnam's Quang province, was one of Southeast Asia's main trading hubs from the 15th to 19th centuries. While the area was originally the main port for the Champa Kingdom, the port town was established by local Nguyen lords once they gained control over central Vietnam. Trade with China, Japan, and to a lesser extent, Europe flourished for hundreds of years during Hoi An's heyday. Sharpen your bargaining skills as you head to Hoi An Central Market, one of Vietnam's best, offering an unmissable shopping experience. Rich in the smell of fragrant herbs and spices and the vibrant colors of Vietnamese silk, delve deep and you are guaranteed a bargain. Prices tend to be more inflated, so you need to bargain. Nowadays, the ancient town of Hoi An is a living museum and is registered as one of the UNESCO heritage sites, attracting a lot of tourists every year. By UNESCO decree, more than 800 historic buildings in Hoi An have been preserved. So much of the old town looks as it did several centuries ago. 18 of these buildings are open to visitors and require an old town ticket for admission. The fee goes towards funding conservation work. Each ticket allows you to visit 5 different heritage attractions from a total selection of 22, including museums, assembly halls, ancient houses, and a traditional music show at the handicraft workshop. Tickets are valid for 10 days. Hoi An, ancient town, has retained its traditional wooden architecture and townscape in terms of plot size, materials, facade and roof line. Because most of the buildings were constructed in wood, it is necessary for them to be repaired at intervals. And so many buildings with basic structures from the 17th and 18th centuries were renewed in the 19th century, using traditional methods of repair. There is currently no pressure to replace older buildings with new ones in modern materials such as concrete and corrugated iron. We spent a couple of days wandering around side streets and alleyways, admiring Hoi An's charm and visiting a few historical places in the ancient town. With good planning, you can see them all in one day and spend the rest of your stay enjoying the restaurants, eateries and bars. Visitors that come to Hoi An like to rent bicycles and cycle around the city streets. It is easy to navigate and quite a pleasant experience, not counting the hair-raising traffic that you need to go through in order to get to the ancient town. Many main attractions are very close to each other, so if you are planning on cycling, then leave your two-wheel ride at the entrance of the ancient town and do the tour on foot. Before entering any of the historic buildings, you need to purchase a ticket for 120,000 VND. It allows you to visit 5 sites. Tickets have special coupons which are cut off by staff minding the city's attractions. Miraculously, Hoi An's ancient buildings received little damage during the Vietnam War. Now designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Hoi An is one of Vietnam's most visited destinations. One of Vietnam's most iconic attractions, Hoi An's Japanese-covered bridge dates back to the 18th century and is a beautiful historical piece of Japanese architecture. It is claimed that it was created by the Japanese then living in Hoi An as a way to reach the Chinese quarter across the water.
We are standing on Japanese cover bridge, were built by Japanese at the end of 16th century. So this bridge is 400 years old.
400 years old.
And they built this bridge to connect the Japanese water to Chinese water.
Japanese water to Chinese water.
And
the bridge was opened by Nguyen Chu Lord in 1719, who carved 3 Chinese symbols above the door in commemoration. The bridge also features the sculptures of 2 dogs and 2 monkeys representing the Chinese years in which many Japanese emperors were born, along with the fact that the building of the bridge began in the year of the dog and was completed in the year of the monkey. The town reflects a fusion of indigenous and foreign cultures, principally Chinese and Japanese, with later European influences that combine to produce this unique survival. Merchants who came for frequent or extended stays started building their own permanent communities in Hoi An. To feel more at home, they built assembly halls to gather with people from their same locale, while establishing shrines and pagodas where they could worship their preferred god. In Hoi An, which has a long history of international trade, there are 5 assembly halls constructed by the Chinese or are located on Tran Phu Street facing Thu Bon River. Generally, they all follow a formula that has been used by other Chinese assembly halls in other cities. A grand gate, a nice garden with ornamental plants, a main hall and a larger altar room. As decoration is a fundamental part of an assembly hall, it is carried out meticulously at all of the halls with statues, murals, etc. However, because each Chinese community has its own beliefs, different assembly halls worship different gods and goddesses. Hoi An is an enriching experience and must visit if you are taking a trip to Vietnam. Thank you for watching.